Howdy do, everybody, one and all. Hope you're safe out there if you are in the affected areas in the Americas. With the only thing I remember seeing is some idiot from the Buffalo Bills game dug out their car, cleaned the back windshield, cleaned the front windshield and the side windows so they could see the mirrors. And there's just a giant pile of snow that's about 4 meters high just on the back of the car as it's driving away. As if it's like some weird carapace. But yeah, welcome everybody to episode... Let me check the title. 19.
19.
No, 19. Of the Popcast Movie Club. And yeah, I do want to quickly get to Bryce's comment saying final episode for 2022 or final episode of season 1, since somebody did mention we might do a break of the show during the award season. Well, we've still got the 2 picks to go, and then I guess we'll see how it goes to whether we can sort of fit it in when the awards get a bit more hectic. So you've got at least 2 more episodes for sure, and it's our final movie club for 2022.
Yes.
It's not our final episode.
It's fine. Don't worry about it, Brian. Unless a miracle happens soon, everything's staying the same. 3 shows remain the same bi-weekly as always.
Yeah, I forgot we'd even mention that. But
that's not even a thing.
We didn't know how much the schedule would be, but I think we're okay with it. So
the answer to that is no, but that's for a different story altogether.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to be able to participate a little bit more, as long as I don't die from this cough.
Yeah. So if Owen sometimes just goes, muted or whatever, that'll be why. Hang on, I realise that I've got to put the poster on. Where's the image? Oh, that's good. I have 0 image. Anyway. Yeah, that thing you do from 1996. Cold open. Hello, I'm Ashley, your host for this. Joining me as ever is AJ, Chris, and our selector with the... Wow, that's why I couldn't see it. That picture was tiny. Let's actually make it bigger and put it by your side, considering it's your pick. Owen.
Hi, friends. Sorry about talking like bad yesterday.
Before we get started, I've got to go back to what my last pick was, or the pick before last. I can't even remember now. It was my October pick. I got something yesterday from my brother that I didn't know existed.
Uh-oh.
And I think it's one of my favorite gifts I've ever gotten. Has anybody seen this before?
What?
That's amazing.
Hang on, I'm full screening it. Just briefly. Yes. on the.
That is a Funko Pop of Guillermo del Toro.
Wait a minute. If there's a Del Toro Funko Pop, that means there's a Tarantino one somewhere as well.
Oh, and I actually, what I thought you were about to say was the observation my brother made about it yesterday, and I can't unsee it.
Hold on.
Does he look like someone else?
He looks like a lot of different people. Who are you specifically referring to?
Tell him, brother.
I think he looks just like Tony Schiavone.
Yeah. I've been close to him and all the AEW tapings I've been to here. Oh, yeah. Definitely looks like Tony.
Wow.
Roll Tide.
My brother also got me a new microphone that cancels out like ambient noise.
Nice.
I just discovered when I have it plugged in, I can't hear anything coming out of the computer, but I read up on it, and I'm gonna have to go like into the advanced settings. So the next time we do this, I should have that.
Very nice.
So yeah, this Hanks's directorial debut, I think. I mean, to be fair, he's
Absolutely.
only done what, this and Larry Crown?
This was the first movie. This started everything. This started Playtone at first place.
Yeah, I had forgotten until I was rewatching it that he also wrote it.
Yep.
It does make you wonder what his inspiration was. Like, which act? It is mentioned on Wikipedia how there were 2 acts called The Wonders, one of which that had like a hit that did pretty well and then just fell off, and the other Wonders being from sort of like Ohio or Pennsylvania.
Right.
So whether he combined the 2 or not, or whether it actually was like one of those many, I'd probably say more so over here than in America.
I mean, it's the first time I ever heard the actual phrase uttered one-hit wonder.
Oh no. It was used over here for ages. God knows how many Christmas number 1s were one-hit wonders. You know, Benny Hill's Ernie the Finest Milkman in the West. They tried.
I know about
tracks.
everybody
Nobody
trying
gave
to
a
push
shit.
the weirdest movie. I know everybody about trying to push the weirdest songs in the history of ever to be the number 1 on the UK list on the holidays.
And now it's just about Lad Baby raising money for charity and people being sick of it.
I'm just happy Killing in the Name actually got up there.
Yeah, that was one time when that anti stuff did work. Although when you take a look into it, the record company behind it is the same record company behind the winner of the talent show anyway. So it's like, did they really lose? Because they still got the number 1 record there.
The thing that's always caught my attention about this movie, and I kind of thought this was the direction you were going when you said you wondered what the inspiration was when you think about the fact that Tom Hanks decided he was going to write and direct his first movie. A movie about a pop band in the 60s seems completely random.
Yeah.
Like I'm wondering where that even came from.
And the fact that he wrote a number of the music tracks as well.
Oh yeah.
Including that opening track. I'm trying to quick me.
Loving You Lots and Lots.
Yeah.
You're the wind in the pouring spring. You're the sun that summertime brings. You're the sun in the nighttime sky. I know the words to these songs. 100%.
He has the album somewhere.
I do, happily. And everybody that I worked with in class during like free period would like hate me because all I would do is listen to the soundtrack nonstop.
Yeah, he's credited on that, and then Freddie Fredrickson's Mr. Downtown.
Mr. Downtown, yes.
Chantraline's Hold My Hand, Hold My Heart, as well as
That's a great song.
Saturn V's Voyage Around the Moon. All those are Hanks partly written.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to work out, whether there is like a specific thing, because obviously his manager character, considering what we know now about it, because I don't think it was revealed at the time until after his death, and also unless you've seen the extended cut you won't know. Apparently the manager person is actually gay and was supposed to be in a relationship with somebody that was played by Howie Long from Fox Sports.
Yeah, we were talking before we started recording that I did not know until this week that there was a 2.5-hour version of this movie. And I haven't seen the extended cut, so I have no idea what all that extra stuff is. I got kind of jaded. It's funny that Tom Hanks comes back into this. Um, I didn't know until I got the Blu-ray that there's an extended cut of Big,
Interesting.
and it's a lesser movie as the extended cut. So I tend, especially if I know a movie really well, I kind of try to avoid extended cuts for the most part. Um, so I'm very curious what that, because that's a lot of time. That's like that's like got to be almost 40 minutes of extra time, doesn't it?
It is,
Yeah, and more character development is what it is.
pretty
It's
much.
building on a couple of the scenes that were kind of touched upon in the movie, but didn't really go many places.
Yeah, it's basically deleted scenes to some extent. There's the description I've got from Wikipedia is a tastefully steamy look at guy.
Oh. Are we? I'm assuming. Yeah. Is that...
We're good.
God damn it! Because I'm having to look at the blooming Wikipedia page, I can't see what's going on. So yeah, a tastefully steamy look at Guy's makeout session with Tina at his apartments included. More on Guy's relationship with Faye via mild flirting. It says in brackets here, and his deteriorating relationship with Tina, as well as Tina's relationship with her dentist. You get to see more of that.
Oh, I gotta stop you right there.
It's all the Charlize stuff. That's all it is. More Charlize. The left on.
One of the things I always liked about this movie was that we never really saw the dentist arc. It kind of felt like Hanks was basically saying, we really don't need to make this, because if once we see like her and Guy like starting to become distant, and then she goes into the dentist's office and the guy's like beautiful and she has that look on her face, that tells us everything. It's like as soon as we see that, we already imagine in our heads the scene where it's like, oh, they become even more distant. Oh, then he finds out, and then they go their separate ways. And it's like, we really didn't need any of that. So I always love that it's like, we see her meet the dentist, and then they're on the phone, and she's telling me how excited she is to go to the dentist. And he's like, well, that's kind of weird. And then just later on, like much later on, Liv Tyler says, yeah, she left him for a dentist. And it's like, that's all the time that was devoted to it. I think that's really all we needed.
More time.
And I've loved how they...
More time was also devoted to the bass player and one of the singers of the Chantrellines. Whereas it just sort of becomes a passing thing.
That's okay. That was cute, so I had no problem with that. I would have been okay with more of that.
I guess they felt it was more of a passing thing rather than the military stuff.
It's cute little flirtation.
Yeah.
I didn't mind that. I didn't mind that stuff at all.
And then, of course, the interesting bit, a different ending.
Wow.
Guy, instead of becoming a studio drummer, on the recommendation of Dell, becomes a DJ for a jazz station and does a documentary series of interviews with legendary jazz musicians.
They did mention in the ending credits that him and Faye ended up together and everything went that way. So my thought process is him and Faye worked together on those documentaries if that would have been pushed further into the actual movie.
Well, no, what basically, rather than the jazz composition stuff, teaching jazz composition at their own music conservatory.
Right, exactly.
That gets replaced by him becoming a DJ at a jazz station.
Then that makes me think that she would have went with him, and then they'd both be working in the documentary, just like I just said.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's like it's more intriguing.
While we're on
oh, go ahead.
While we're on the topic of Guy, I had kind of an odd revelation, and I kind of felt like an idiot afterwards.
I'm curious.
I don't know if this was intentional at all, or if it's just a coincidence that I got this vibe. And Owen, you will appreciate this. So, at the very beginning, during the opening credit sequence, where guys just working around the store,
Yeah.
it just kind of set in. I just got this vibe, and I was like, why is this reminding me of Gary selling waterbeds and licorice pizza?
Big time.
And I completely forgot that Gary Goetzman, the guy that Gary Valentine is based on in Licorice Pizza, who is also Tom Hanks' producing partner, produced this movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm
Pretty much.
assuming there's got to be some sort of connection there as to that
Definitely.
vibe not being a coincidence.
Oh, of course not.
Oh, the biggest coincidence? Considering how this story arc is basically a reverse La La Land. Tom Everett Scott's in La La Land.
Well, yeah, of course.
Not only do we know Tom Everett Scott's in La La Land, I specifically remember Owen tweeting him after La La Land.
I 100% did, and I will not apologize for that. Nope.
And if I remember correctly, he did acknowledge you.
Oh, heck yeah, he did.
I think you said something along the lines of that he still knows where to find good jazz because he's
That's exactly what I said. Yes.
Because he's the one that drives to Sebastian's place at the end of La La Land.
That's right.
He's the one that's with Mia.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then like all the
And
people.
that's kind of, it's funny you mentioned that, AJ, because you talk about the Twitter thing. Ken Marino, who I love from the state, who I've loved from the state since day one. I've been following his career since the beginning when he started comedy. He is in the background of the roller coaster entrance video, like the pre-show video. He's in the background. And it's funny because his Twitter actually directly acknowledges this. Because so many people, myself included, have acknowledged his presence in this actual video that he's like, yes, I'm that Ken Marino. Yes, I am in the background of the rock and roller coaster.
Yes, why isn't he on the Wikipedia page?
We were talking about like the characters here and how the extended version apparently gives us a little more of that, but that time we were asked about what makes a good script and a not so good one, and the best thing I could come up with was characters. We were talking about how it just seems totally random that Tom Hanks would choose a pop band in the 60s as the subject for the movie he first wrote and directed. So the thing about it is the layout of this story is pretty much the most generic story you could possibly have.
Oh, yeah.
The beauty of this movie is that this movie pretty much has its own kind of vibe, regardless of that. And I think a lot of that comes from the characters.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's a lot of likable and unlikable people in this movie.
I love how the two most unlikable people in the band are basically the two that are like at the front of the story.
Oh, yeah.
Guy has an arc. I think mainly through Faye he has an arc. Like the more he gets involved with Faye, the less douchey he becomes.
Sure.
Guy is so self-absorbed and douchey at the start. And he basically, it kind of feels like he and Johnny Johnny was his name, right? Jimmy.
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 Yeah.
It feels like he and Jimmy kind of switch places. Where it's like Jimmy's just kind of here doing his thing at the start, and then he ultimately becomes the self-absorbed douche. Whereas Guy starts as a self-absorbed douche, and Faye's placement here, weirdly enough, is like the consistent thing on where somebody is on the douche scale and where they are on the redeemed scale.
I partly
But
want to
she's
say
the common denominator between the two.
I want to say Jimmy sort of turns a douche as soon as it gets to them playing the first song with Guy as a drummer.
See,
when he gets the beat wrong, and he's like, "You got the beat wrong. Come on."
Yeah, he's mad because he upped the tempo on the song because it sounded better.
Yeah.
The song was never supposed to be slow. It was always supposed to be fast, but Jimmy wrote it slow, and that's what he realized in his mind and he would not deviate from anything further.
Yeah, it's like I guess the very first shot of him when he's trying to come up with band names, it's almost like he's ignoring everybody. It is sort of like he does have a self-absorbed nature that just strengthens as the story goes on, I guess you could say.
Oh yeah.
Whereas Guy kind of starts to wear off.
And he also gets more arrogant as we move forward too, because when All My Only Dreams goes on the flip side of the 45, he's like, "This is amazing." Then he goes up to Sal and he basically is like, "Who's this guy? Why is he coming near me? Get him away from me." And he kind of overstays his welcome, but he's still the leader of the band, even though he's not acknowledged by anybody but himself. Stillwater.
The fact that everything as well is done through Guy, like, you know, the first manager coming out the back of the caravan and whatever, or the RV, all does it through Guy, not from Jimmy.
Yeah.
Another thing I love about Guy's arc is the fact that he does kind of he also has that Jimmy-like arrogance about him as it goes on for a while.
When he throws the shades on, "I am Spartacus, I led you here."
Yeah, he really, like, obviously the shades are put on him, but then he absorbs that personality very quickly.
It becomes him. I see that.
And then another arc starts when he meets Bill Cobbs for the first time. And there's this whole thing where it's like when he's sitting in front of Dell fanboying.
Oh my god.
That's a guy we've never really seen before.
No.
And you can see like all of the arrogance and the self-absorbed qualities just like they're just gone. And he's back to the small person that was working in the store. Just like that.
Kid just marking out over his favorite artist.
Completely ignoring Rita Wilson in the process.
It's like when, okay, I'll bring this up. I think I brought it up on the channel a couple of times. So I have been very fortunate to do a lot of things in my life. And I don't see no doubt in my mind I'll be able to do even more. I still have plenty of time. Unless this cough kills me and then all bets are off. But at any rate, I am very fortunate to say I was in attendance for Conan O'Brien's Tonight Show. There's not many people that can say that. And I know that because he did not have a long run. Thanks, Chin Boy. Enjoy unemployment. Thing is, at the end of the day, there was a show that was Snoop Dogg, you know this story, and Carl Reiner. Everybody in that theater was so excited to see Snoop. And it was super cool. He's even taller in person. But at the end of the day, when you watch back the playback of that show, you'll hear Carl Reiner telling these old Alan Brady stories from the set of the Dick Van Dyke Show. And Dick Van Dyke is one of my absolute favorite television shows of all time. The only reason I don't own it on DVD is because it's difficult because they release it in a very weird manner, and I don't buy DVDs anymore because that's a dead technology. And plus, I'm not going to waste it.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I know. To me, it is because I don't need to buy movies. I just don't. So at the end of the day, I was laughing hysterically. And you can hear me in the playback when Carl Reiner was telling these stories. And it's like the same situation. It's like everybody in the world is here to see that one guy. They want to see that one artist. But it's the one person that's marking out for that person that barely anybody knows. That's how you see the real person. And that's exactly what comes out whenever Guy sees Adele for the first time.
Oh, wow. I was, for the longest time, I was just sitting here like, yeah, I remember this story. Yeah, this is a good story. And then I was like, wait a minute, how did we end up here? It's like, oh, yeah, we're coming back around to Guy and Dell. That makes sense. Yeah.
And just sitting there, just like shooting stuff with some of these jazz legends that most people would pay no mind. Just was the world to Guy. And you could see that he kind of like basically, not physically, but took the sunglasses off for a bit
Mm.
and just became a fan again. And that's where you start to see a little bit more of that story arc in Guy. And I love the relationship with the doorman too. That doorman just loved everybody. It was great.
Robo Babatunde, yeah.
Oh my gosh, he's amazing.
Yeah, and notice this, okay? Like, maybe the extended version does more character work, but we've been talking about just Guy for a while now, and we're only talking about stuff that's in the regular version.
Yeah, totally.
I feel like there's plenty here to work with. That the original version is fine the way it is. But I say that having not seen the extended cut, but I'm not gonna really rush to see the extended cut.
No.
I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
But
they
then you have the fact that if it wasn't for Giovanni Ribisi breaking his arm, there would be no Guy.
because he's being a total twat trying to jump over parkers.
I considerably laughed.
Which just
there.
seems a very like Rabisi thing to do. It's the-
Like, Chad broke his arm. We need a drummer. Hey, Guy, can you do this? Yeah, sure.
and then just the added touch of him being at the school, the state talent show thing. Somebody barges back into his broken arm. He's like, ow!
And he's gone, and we don't see him the rest of the entire movie.
No.
No, that's right.
He's pivotal.
He's got one
He takes Guy's old job at the
Yeah, he does. He
Patterson's-
takes over at the store.
yeah.
That's right.
And he watches the performance with the family for some reason.
Wherever he
I have a feeling he basically did everything that Guy's family said to do, and he became a member of Guy's family. Like, he became a Patterson by de facto.
however it was implied if he had a relationship with the daughter.
I don't think he dared try.
And then of course you got the
There's
random
Brian Mills on his phone.
you got the random Chris Isaac cameo as Uncle Bob.
That was fun. Yeah.
There's a lot of cameos. I'd forgotten how many cameos are in this.
Paul Feig and Clint Howard as the radio DJs.
Yep.
Cranston as the astronaut.
Getty Watanabe is the photographer.
Peter Scolari, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
But can we acknowledge the best one?
Are we talking about Jonathan Demme?
Yes, the director of the Beach movie is Demme.
I love Captain Geach and the Shrimp Shack Shooters. That name is phenomenal, and it fits perfectly into the time frame that they are with that movie.
Yeah, because it's clear they're doing like Frankie Avalon and Up Funicello movie,
Oh, for sure.
and then it's fucking Demme behind the camera, who I believe is also a producer on the movie, which obviously makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
He is.
And then also
Which
Robert
also
Ridgely.
explains.
Ridgely is the MC as well. I was just getting Boogie Nights flashbacks all over again.
And we just literally talked about Guy for like 30 minutes.
Yeah. I was just getting ready to say, can we speak in praise of Steve Zahn for a bit?
Oh my God. Steve Zahn's amazing here. Give me a pen. I'm signing. Everybody's signing. Come on. He brings me into this nice camper. They got their Dr. Peppers and everything on the side. That looks so suspect, though. It's like, hey, let's bring a bunch of not kids, but like younger teenage type people in a back of a camper in the middle of broad daylight in front of an appliance store. That doesn't look suspect whatsoever. Not at all.
And what I especially love are the moments that he gets that are just one-off scenes. Like when he's playing Go Fish with those guys.
Right.
You can tell those are like maybe 10-second cuts of it. Like there's one shot of him playing, and then we cut back for it's like a total of maybe 20 seconds of screen time is this game of Go Fish. He's using every single second of that 20 seconds.
It's like he's like, got any threes?
It's time to go
Your
fishing.
EPA. I was like, oh boy, Lenny all over again.
So it got me the most at the shotgun wedding in Vegas when he's just like, oh, this is amazing, and just like takes a
Such a
chip
Lenny
and passes
thing
it to
to
the
do.
photographer and the preacher and the preacher's wife just, you have a chip. It's good.
Guy, can you spot me some blackjack cash? Bear in mind, I literally watched this movie at the beginning of November when I was on the plane to LA, so I know this movie like the back of my hand. This was the perfect movie for me to do for Movie Club. A movie I do not have to do any research on.
Brother, what do you remember about this movie?
It's been a while since I've seen it because I wasn't able to find a copy of it for Movie Club. I couldn't stream it anywhere. I couldn't buy it anywhere because movie DVD selection is shit these days in most stores.
True.
So I don't really have much of a recollection. I remember liking it. I didn't remember anything really that stood out to me as not being good about it. It's just been so long since I've seen it.
I was trying to remember if you were there the first time I saw it, or if we saw it at different times.
No, but I'll echo what Owen said. I do remember the music being very good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, how it feels like it's literally from that. Like it's almost like they're using a pre-existing song when they're not.
Right. like the Playtone category, like their cavalcade of stars. All these songs feel real. They feel like they really exist because you are now in the Playtone galaxy, and now you are listening to these stars that you obviously have never heard of before because they're not real, but you buy the fact that they are.
Some of the bits that we used as incidental music in between the two did feel a little bit like we did this on a synth keyboard. Maybe if I had a bit more budget, they could have done it with like an actual sort of band to make it sound more authentic.
One detail that I do like is how it kind of feels like, because we hear how many times would you say we hear the song in the movie? it's a shitload.
It plays over and over again.
A dozen, probably.
Was I getting the right sense that the song kind of like makes little changes, like it improves as it goes? Like every time we hear it, it's slightly different, it's slightly more improved.
And you're hearing more of it too, because as the Wonders are going through the fairground circuit, you're getting to hear more of the song and more parts of the song. Not the whole song, but different parts of the song to build the actual.
There's also those moments where I like that we have crash and burn moments early, which is something that doesn't typically happen in a story like this.
Mm-hmm.
Which is one of the reasons the song needs to improve as it goes.
Sure.
I really love how, like I said, this may be something the extended cut ruins, but the way it is in the regular version, the scene with the Kevin Pollak scene when they go on his show, and it's a disaster. That scene is so hard to watch because it's such a disaster. And I love that the scene is merciful enough to end when it ends. Like, we hear they were booed off stage, but we don't actually see them booed off stage. We've cringed when we've cringed enough. The scene, we don't see the full disaster that it was, but we have enough of an idea.
See, that's the Tom Hanks anyway as a writer director, because he knew exactly how much you needed to get it in your head what happened, and you did not need to fulfill exactly what did happen.
Yeah, between that and the dentist arc, I know I never want to see the extended cut now. I think I'm making a rule here.
That's fair.
I'm just loving the fact that the 45s were going for $1. Pricing ahead of iTunes 2 decades.
They're literally at a pizza joint out by the airport. That's where this all starts. It's just crazy to think. But that's how bands get discovered nowadays.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even then, it's scary.
Oh,
Yep.
well.
Bye.
To some extent.
Sure.
I'd say the same with wrestling as well. I mean, we've obviously had that implied with the MJF Regal sort of thing, with the whole
Sure.
tapes. But it's sort of
Yeah.
a case of like, when you see the people sort of you hear about them being backstage at the sort of indie shows, scouting the talent, like thinking,
Yeah, of course.
what's the next big thing, sort of thing.
Oh yeah. Something Hunter's
That
gonna
will
steal.
always happen. There's a whole list that they do over here at the start of the year where it's like artists to watch.
Sure.
Some of them become big, like Adele and Amy Winehouse, and then others sort of maybe have their one-hit wonder, if you will, and then just really don't get picked up. Whether that's the fault of the record industry or not, I don't know.
See, I hate Jimmy, and I'm supposed to hate Jimmy. And given the fact of the stuff I've put behind this movie throughout the years and continued to do so, I hate Jimmy even more. But at the end of the day, he was one of the only ones that was trying to get back into the studio. Everybody else was just having fun being a band. Jimmy just wanted to make music. Jimmy would have been a lot more comfortable just making music and not.
I do find
travel.
it ironic, though, of course, that he did stay with the Playtone label.
Yeah.
Despite his misgivings about them, he was perfectly happy being with them.
I'm not surprised.
Despite everything.
Sure.
You thought he might have got burned. He tried to have gone to another record label rather than still with Playtone. But then the fact that he becomes a producer, you sort of see that reflecting. It's sort of like, I don't want to say Phil Spector, because Phil Spector was a nut job, but like,
Yes.
I only say that because what gets played every Christmas, those Phil Spector songs on the Christmas Gift With You album from like 1963, and it's just like, Owen will appreciate this. It's Love and Mercy.
Yeah, it really is.
Brian Wilson trying to find the perfect sound and the perfect version. That's what Jimmy is.
Yeah,
The perfectionist.
I can see that.
You know why I hate Jimmy?
Oh, let's rip on James Mattingly the second right now. I'm down with that. Let's go.
Oh, it had nothing to do with Jimmy. I was just gonna say that the last movie with him in it that I reviewed on this channel was the Prom Night remake.
Oh, dear God.
Oh.
Did he at least die, though?
Did he? Yeah, I think he got shot at the end.
That's still something.
That's what you get for being Jonah Hex.
Oh.
Well, to be fair, his Jonah Hex in Legend of Tomorrow was pretty good. It was only sort of 3 episodes, but trying to see if... Oh, he was in Day of the Dead Bloodline, another one of those Day of the Deads. God damn it.
We were talking about something about Hanks as a director.
Mm.
It's something we were kind of talking about, and I think that's another thing that I noticed, that where this movie could have been just super generic story-wise, but how the characters bring it to life. But I do think there's also something... There's like a style he's sort of bringing to this movie that kind of feels like it evokes the era.
Sure.
And there's just little touches in there that I love, like when Liv Tyler's running around when the song starts playing on the radio for the first time.
Yes.
I love that detail where we hear the song on the audio as she's running, and then it stops when we see Ethan Embry coming out of the recruitment office. And then as Liv Tyler runs up to him, the audio of the song gets louder. Like,
Yes.
it goes up in volume as she runs by. I think stuff like that brings a lot of personality to it also, and keeps it from having that sort of generic feel that it could have had.
It's showing how epic it truly is, because let's say you get your first hit out of nowhere, even if it's just one DJ playing your song, you finally hear it on actual speakers on an actual radio for the first time. You're going to tell everybody. And then you're just going to run to try to tell every single buddy one by one, members of the band. And then you have a conga line. And I'm always going to think of this scene whenever I think about that.
The way everybody, the way the store's supposed to be this really quiet, sort of lifeless place, and just one by one people. When Steve Zahn like pulls up in the middle of the street and stops, gets me every time, and just runs in.
One touch I also liked as well, you know, sort of I guess in a nod to Fireball XL5, because a lot of Jerry Anderson's color stuff did this. When they would like go to commercial break or whatever, the picture quality would clearly deteriorate, because the idea was it doesn't matter what it looks like because you're going to fade out on it. So when they do some of the transitions, you actually get that effect where the color sort of just, you know, is like 20% sort of out. It still looks the right color and everything, but it just looks sort of blurry or whatever, because the idea is it's just going to fade out and then fade into something else. I think you also had it on quite a lot of the early Bonds as well, when they did the fades. It's a dip in the picture quality. I'm intrigued to see how this looks like Blu-ray style, because clearly the version that's on Amazon is just the DVD, and you know, whether they did a good job in cleaning it up, I'd be intrigued. But
I would say the version that I watched on the actual plane is probably one of the more crisp versions I've seen of the movie. So I would say it's probably the version you're looking for.
Mm-hmm. Right, to the chat. Joseph says, "Hey, Popcast team." Oh, go ahead.
That's perfectly timed, because I just used up all, except for the final thoughts, I've used up all my notes. So this is perfectly timed.
I'm guessing that will give us some other stuff. Hey, Popcast team. Josephine says, "Having a great time at my aunt's in Nevada so far. We're in Pahrump, which is about an hour away from Vegas. Today we're going to the Strip. Oh yeah!
Jimmy Penn and Teller stuff.
And a Merry Christmas to us all as well. I watched this movie about a week prior to flying out and had a lot of fun with it. Imagine if the That Thing You Do song was used in a commercial for something."
You know, honestly, I really am surprised with the way that commercials use all the retro music, that this song has not ended up somehow in a commercial. I could totally see that, Josie.
Because it's the great thing about it is it's now simultaneously 90s retro and 60s retro.
I literally want to buy laundry detergent to that song right now. And I don't buy laundry detergent.
It was the film debut of Tom Everett Scott. Hanks was originally opposed to hiring him because of his strong resemblance to a younger Tom, but was finally convinced by Rita, who said that Scott was cute. Uh-oh! Stranger danger. This is like Linda Hogan and Brooke again. Steve Zahn played guitar and sang both in this movie and Saving Silverman. Hanks claimed he wrote the script while on the promo tour for Forrest Gump, due to his boredom over doing non-stop interviews. So is that
Oh my god, that explains the 60s music.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Do we have an origin?
I was today years old when I realized that was a thing.
Was he that ground out by the machine that is the film industry that he's like, I'm going to do a pastiche on the music industry? Yeah, Josephine also says, "Now I can now see how the soundtrack of Gump may have inspired him."
It's all coming together.
Going based on the previous fact, AJ, as a scriptwriter, how much does it kind of irritate you that Tom Hanks, who's already good at acting, decided, I'm bored, I'll write a movie, and just cranked one out?
It does stress me out when I hear people talk about how quickly they wrote something. Like when, like it takes me at least a year and a half of outlining and then writing before I finish something. Listening to somebody like Paul Thomas Anderson, say that he goes out to a cabin and just write in the Magnolia documentary. He says, "I just went out there and I just wrote and wrote and wrote." And it's like, wow, you make it sound so fucking easy, Paul Thomas Anderson. I think I've maybe done that once. There was like one script that I wrote because it was like, oh, here's an idea, and then it just kind of happened once. I don't think I can make that happen again.
Adam Schlesinger, the bassist of Fountains of Wayne, penned the title song in response to a contest being held by the studio. Their song 1 being used in the movie. The movie was released shortly after their first album.
Well, that makes my question. Did that guy title the song, thus title the movie, or did they give out the title and say write a song?
That makes more sense. Well, I don't know, if they're going to do a contest, it would make sense. It's like, this was the movie's called, so let's write this song. Or if we like your title, we'll change it to our movie title.
That's a big promotion. If I had to guess off the top of my head, I would say they gave the title and then said write the song. If I had to guess.
No sense to me too.
The 4 actors playing the Wonders rehearsed as a band for 8 weeks to get the feel of performing. But most of the performances were dubbed over by other musicians. Great.
It honestly never even occurred to me, all the times I've watched this. I wonder how much of this is real. That never occurred to me till just now.
Yeah.
That's how convincing they are, I think. That you just kind of run with it.
Well, maybe they did do it, and then it's just, very well dubbed. Zahn was best man at Tom Everett Scott's wedding. I think they did like a political fundraising sort of read-along thing in the last couple of years. Let me have a quick check. I know it was
they usually do that kind of stuff at like TIFF.
The Erie Seawolves hosted Wonders Night on September the 4th last year at UPMC Park, a baseball park in Erie, with Jonathan, Tom, and Steve traveling to Erie as well and participating in a panel discussion, autograph session, and elements of the board game presentation, with Ethan joining the panel virtually. And a result of funds collected, as well as memorabilia and jersey auction, they raised $25,000 for a non-profit organization dedicated to helping dyslexia students. And then additional donations were made, bringing the total sum from about $25,000 to $250,000. That changed that expanded quite a bit. Yeah, so it wasn't a read-through, but it was sort of like, that's something that's going to be on the 25th, the 30th anniversary re-release in 4K, right? Wow. When the Wonders are playing at Boss Vic Koss's show in Pittsburgh, one of the other band names on the theatre is Marilyn Lovell and Geminis, which is a tribute to the wife of Jim Lovell, played by Hanks in Apollo 13 and the NASA space program. It's all there.
That brings me back to, brother, what you were saying about Hanks just doing stuff. It's like, oh, he wrote this while on the press tour for Forrest Gump. What little tiny thing did he do between Forrest Gump and this movie? Apollo 13 and Toy Story.
Jeez.
Tom Hanks is good at all the things.
Yes. Yeah.
He named the beach band after 2 seafood restaurants near Beaufort, South Carolina, where many of the Forrest Gump scenes were filmed.
And of course,
so I guess that means there is a
company.
That means an actual Captain Geach restaurant and a shrimp shack sounds normal, but Captain Geach, I don't know. Hanks named his production company Playtone after the fictional record label. So he caused it. The FFA, the Future Farmers of America, loaned strictly members-only jackets so the state science fair would look more authentic. That's way too much. That's way too much detail. Josie mentions the Bryan Cranston cameo and Tom being in La La Land. The TV commercial that's shown on the Hollywood Showcase before the Wonders appear is for the new Ford Mustang at the 1964 World's Fair. Hell yeah. Oh, Ribisi and Everett Scott went on to co-star in Boiler Room 4 years later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hank's son Colin plays the usher who seats Faye late in the movie.
Right.
Who has a few more scenes and stuff as well, apparently, in the extended cut. Oh, okay, so this is an interesting one. So this is a band face-off, as in, how would the Wonders fare in the Battle of the Bands? So, the Wonders versus Spinal Tap. I'd probably say Wonders, because half the time Spinal Tap I don't think know what they're even doing themselves. So
Yeah, I was gonna say Spinal Tap's more prone to disaster, but I'm not so sure.
yeah.
That Kevin Bullock show went really poorly.
Depends on where you get Spinal Tap in their career.
Also, to be fair, the beds might have been shit. That's why he does so many shows, because he's just getting rid of the shit beds. I don't know.
Was it? This is interesting. Wasn't it the drummer in Spinal Tap that was always dying?
I believe so.
And then by the end of the movie, the Wonders only have their drummer left. Okay, because of that, I will take the Wonders, I think.
The Wonders.
Chris?
Agree. Wonders.
The Wonders or Stillwater? I'm trying to remember which one.
This is the only tough one to me.
Which one's Stillwater again?
Almost Famous.
Almost famous.
Ah, right.
Jeff BB Band.
I'd probably have to take Stillwater on this one.
When they were together, it's
agree.
like the Gallagher brothers. When they band together, they're unstoppable. But apart, oh god, it's like a powder keg.
Oh man, what if Stillwater covered a Wonders song?
I could imagine that actually.
Seems like,
Here we go again. Brother, you have this knack for coming up with these fictional scenarios that I just wish existed. Like, all I want is to see that now.
Now, here's the sad thing is Tom Hanks would probably write the song and the whole movie around it on the fucking shitter or something.
I mean, we've still got who else in Stillwater? There's Billy Crudup and Jason Lee. Who else is in there? I'm sure they're all here, aren't they?
Yeah,
We can make this happen.
Jason Lee definitely needs the money and the work.
Wonders versus the Venus in Furs from Velvet Goldmine. Ooh.
That was the Jonathan Rhys Meyers band, right? That wasn't the Ewan McGregor was the like the Wild Rats or something.
Yeah. I'd probably just about say the Wonders.
I think I'm leaning in that direction. Because I got the bands confused. Because my first thought was, is Ewan McGregor gonna drop his pants again? That will answer the question. But it's not even his band.
Oh, this is an easy one.
I feel
Wonders-
like asking the question, will Ewan McGregor drop his pants in a movie, is like asking the question, will Christian Bale undergo a massive weight change for a movie?
Christian Bale is in Velvet Goldmine, so that makes perfect sense.
Wonders versus Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem. Dr. Teeth all the fucking way. Yeah.
Dr. Teeth all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Teeth. You don't know the things that Janice has done, good sir.
I mean, there's probably been like 7 actual Dr. Teeths because they've been going on that long.
But seriously, man, could you imagine like Guy working with Animal? This should have been on Muppets Tonight in the mid '90s when it was on ABC.
Remember
Why
the
there wasn't a Tom Everett Scott Animal crossover on the drums? I'll never know.
Dude, they could make it a TV special. They could call it That Muppet Thing You Do.
Oh God, yes, I totally like that more than some of the stuff they've done.
that seems so much more lighthearted than the direction I was going.
Probably.
I was imagining. You remember that whole sequence in Whiplash when it's Miles Teller and the other guy going back and forth to see who gets the spot?
Yep.
It's just like they're going so long. There's like bloodshed. It's like that's what I'm imagining between Guy and Animal happen.
I think there is a Muppets Whiplash, J.K. Simmons, Miles Teller video that exists somewhere that I'm pretty sure I've seen before. That I absolutely like, unless it's like a fever dream and the fact that I'm sick, I'm just imagining it. I'm almost positive this exists, and I need to seek it out immediately.
Dude, if you could get the Muppets and J.K. Simmons in an SNL type setting, that totally could happen.
Well, J.K. Simmons is working with M&M's for like 38 years, so there you go.
There is already a great SNL sketch where Keegan-Michael Key and Keenan play theater security, and they keep reprimanding Statler and Waldorf.
That's great. SNL died years ago, but my God, there's so many things holding on that make it good sometimes.
What the fuck?
Indeed.
But
No, sorry, somebody's setting off fireworks outside.
Welcome to my world, Ashley.
No, you get it every day. I don't randomly
huge.
get it. I was expecting it on like 31st into New Year's Day. But it's the 27th.
People
Is
get
somebody on the
started
wrong
early. They
calendar?
Here on the 4th all the time.
There's somebody on the wrong calendar. There's rules
No,
over here,
like-
though. You've got to do it after 11. You can't do it after 11 because you'll scare the shit out of anyone.
They do not care. I will hear boom, boom, boom outside, and it's totally not the same time that it's supposed to go off. And the only thing I come to my mind is, well, enough fireworks again. It's not New Year's yet. You guys need to, screw it. I'm going to turn on something really loud so I don't have to listen to it. And there's the guy outside that yells at trees and clouds and everything that's super loud I have to deal with all the time. And I just turn my TV up really loud and don't deal with it. I just don't acknowledge anybody here, and it makes
that was very educational about your life.
yes. So that's funny because that's kind of like a segue. Next year is the anniversary of Popcast Network as a channel. May 1st, 2023. We are doing the most special QA show we have ever done. This is not random questions. This is not exceedingly personal questions either. I'm gonna cut the line on that. But I know a lot of you that are listening and watching right now, whether live or in archive, have been following this network for a while, or even if you haven't, you have questions about some of the weird stuff we've done on this network. You're gonna get your chance to ask it in a special Q&A on our anniversary. 10 years of the Popcast Network coming next year. Get your questions ready. We're going to have some fun.
That sounded like a wrap up. Are we still going? Or
Yeah, of course. Continue. It was just a segue. It rolled in like a... I thought it made sense to put it in right there.
No.
We didn't even talk about Ethan Embry. Not really.
I just love that he doesn't get a name.
He's a TV player.
And the idea, and obviously it brings a very warm feeling to us Empire Records fans to see him and Liv Tyler in another movie about music just the year after.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we got one more group. As I noticed, the mic fucking went again. Wonders versus Sing Street.
Wonders.
Yeah, I don't even remember much about Sing Street. I didn't really care about it.
Sing Street. They had more than one song.
Well, after we talk about my movie club, we could do the Wonders versus Crash and the Boys.
I was just thinking
Yeah.
how we have like a band centric like two times in a row.
We're gonna have to work out which one truly was the actual best band. Was it actually Sex Bomb, or was it actually the other ones? That's the actual battle of the bands. Bryce says, "Hope you guys had a great Christmas. The last 2010s films I've watched since the last podcast are Dirty Wars, Virunga, How to Survive a Plague, and No."
Yeah, we saw How to Survive a Plague in the theater. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Documentaries are weird watching the theater. I won't even lie.
Yeah, it's very. I feel like it's very rare for us.
Oh yeah.
Well, I assume how things went down with COVID, not many people watched that documentary.
Okay. Josephine has suggestions for future movie clubs: King Ralph with a crown emoji and a dice emoji, and Angus.
Angus gets brought up a lot.
We did say at one point, we weren't sure how we were going to do it, but at some point we were going to let the chat like pick the movie or something.
It'll happen next year. I don't know exactly when it's going to be. Honestly, it might be, just throwing it out there, maybe right after the Oscars.
Keep
Like
that in
our
mind,
PMC
everybody.
right after the Oscars. We'll do a QA show, and we'll get a bunch of suggestions from chat, and then you basically pretty much just vote for yourself.
Actually, it would make more sense if they came up with the movies and the four of us voted.
So, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Well, when's the anniversary Q&A?
May 1st.
How far out is it? What is it?
May 1st.
What if we have them pick a movie, and the movie club we do with the anniversary show is the audience picked movie club?
I have no
As like an
problem
audience
at the end
appreciation.
of on the anniversary show. I think that we could have chat choose while we reminisce and while we are asked questions, because that's what we're doing. We're doing for Pop the Question anyway. It makes sense that we pick our movie club pick right there, and then once 2 weeks later, we'll do the fans pick. I like that. That works.
Roy says that thing you do, a typical boy band story that we've heard many times in real life and in many biopics, but a great title song. Which of course lost at the Globes to the song nobody remembers from Evita, "You Must Love Me."
That
'Cause
trash
only
song.
people know the song that actually was from the musical.
Whoever brought that up in the chat, it's worth noting. Before we started recording, Owen was literally screaming about that.
Yes. Watching Todd in the Shadows Cinema Madonna series and watching the Evita episode, I hate that movie even more now. And knowing that it beat That Thing You Do makes me even more angry.
I still stand by one of Antonio Banderas' best performances, though.
Oh, he's solid in it, don't get me wrong.
I'm trying to see. Oh, the same happened with the Oscars as well. The other songs that year, at least on the Oscar front, was I Finally Found Someone from Streisand from Mirror Has Two Faces.
Mirror Has Two Faces.
For the first time from One Fine Day.
Yep.
Kenny Loggins' thing. And Diane Warren! Yes! She's here again! Because You Loved Me from Celine Dion from Up Close and Personal.
Yep. All the stuff that played on the radio station at all times of the day.
You don't get that with the nominated songs anymore.
No, because most of them are not they're not radio friendly.
Just saw a giant Penn and Teller billboard or poster on the strip. My mom and I are walking around the Bellagio.
I've seen that actually when I was flying out of McCarran Airport. It's a sight to see. I cannot wait to finally see Penn and Teller in person in Vegas like nature intended. I'll always have 2019 and the greatest bucket list item checked off, but I feel like I need to go to Vegas properly. And now Teller's back, finally, after his health scare, where Penn's been working with Carbonero for like special shows for like the last like several months.
Interesting one from Josie. Thoughts on Steve Zahn as an actor?
Say that again.
Thoughts on Steve Zahn as an actor?
I've always loved him. Are we assuming Happy Texas is technically his breakout?
I would say so.
I can't remember where that was in relation to this time-wise.
It was the same year as Forces of Nature. The first thing I remember him from probably is Out of Sight. But that was the same year as well as You've Got Mail, so it was sort of... That was probably the sort of one... I mean, it was the one where he got the Independent Spirit Award, Happy Texas, so... In that respect, it was probably one of the things.
I'm trying to remember if I knew... Because this is when I would have been growing up. I'm trying to remember if I knew him prior to Daddy Daycare or not. Which is a very funny introduction to him.
Saving Silverman the year before.
Yeah, and he's the bear in the second Doctor Dolittle. I remember knowing that at an early age.
He's Monty and Stuart Little too, apparently, as well.
Yeah.
And should say that.
You know what he's... I don't really want to say much about this because I know not many people have seen this. I loved him in A Perfect Getaway.
Yes.
His movie with Mia Jovovich and Timothy Olyphant, which needs to be more seen than it is.
I want to say something right now that's going to be very controversial. I've been saying this for a long time. If there is ever a time that... There was a rumor a long time ago that the novelization of the book Ring of Hell would get made into an actual movie. I have been saying since day one, after, I believe it's Perfect Getaway that made me say this statement.
I'm pretty sure it was, yeah.
After seeing Steve Zahn in A Perfect Getaway, I realized who needed to play Chris Benoit in the movie. Because he had that coldness, that calculatedness, before, obviously, things happened. And you could see that he was not all there. Mm-hmm. And I felt like Steve Zahn wasn't typecast because he was way not Frank Heffley at that point. Way before Diary of a Wimpy Kid. And that's how Steve Zahn is stuck around in my life.
Another really early inclusion in my memory of Steve Zahn is Joyride.
Oh yeah, love Joyride.
And his what's funny is like he can be one of the funniest people alive. But when you look at his dramatic roles, you get stuff like The White Lotus, obviously.
Sure.
And he's amazing in Rescue Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane the range that he has.
He got nominated for a Spirit Award that year.
Nice.
And he's currently on the screen in George and Tammy as George Ritchie, the other George.
Brother,
I remember watching National Security.
Yep.
And finding Steve Zahn to be more funny than Martin Lawrence in that movie.
Yeah.
Oh, for
sure. Yeah.
And of course, he was in Sunshine Cleaning, featuring some woman, I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
Whoever that was.
Yeah.
She does a lot of movies. She has me parties.
And the first few Diary of a Wimpy Kids as well.
Love the Wimpy Kids.
Also,
it's kind of a guilty pleasure.
He's also the cop in Dallas Buyers Club.
Yep.
Mhm.
Another performance I enjoy.
And the it's just referred to as Bad Ape, but
Oh yes.
him and Andy Serkis going at it in motion capture suits.
Yeah, a lot of people thought that role was a little too silly, but I thought there was like, even though he's silly, you can see a darkness in him through the CGI and the motion capture, and I love that.
Josephine also asks, "Have we ever seen Larry Crown?"
I saw it when it first came out, and my memory is just so vague because it was so. It's not the kind of movie that really leaves an impression.
Yeah, probably the same. I know it exists, and the poster just seemed like a knockoff of Breakfast at Tiffany's.
You mean Roman Holiday?
Oh yeah, I just
I
remember a
I
scooter.
don't remember Larry Crown, but I remember the poster.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. It's just the poster. That was it. I wonder if Steven Tyler was happy that his daughter Liv was in a movie about music. I mean, considering how many what other she was in records, wasn't she? Yeah. So hang on, Liv Tyler's filmography.
Yeah, Empire Records was just the year before.
Thoughts on Empire Records?
Like I said, I don't know if I would have the connection to that movie that I would if he didn't have my fucking name.
Yeah.
But no, I love that. Honestly, Anthony LaPaglia and Rory Cochrane are real standouts in that also. But like that's one of those ones where I can't pinpoint a weak link in the cast.
No, there's not one.
Because like I point out, Anthony LaPaglia and Rory Cochrane, but then it's like, well, Maxwell Caulfield's amazing in it, Ethan Embry's amazing in it, Renee Zellweger, and obviously Liv Tyler, Robin Tunney. Everybody's amazing in that movie.
Is this the prequel or a continuation to Colonel Tom's story in Elvis?
This, I think, would be a prequel.
Definitely a prequel.
It feels like a prequel if time jumping was allowed.
There's an alternate end of Big where the girl becomes younger and meets up with him in class.
Oh, so that's where Benjamin Button the idea came from.
Okay, but she's still an adult in her mind, so it's still fucking weird.
Josephine also mentions, if only the Wonders were performing in Vegas where I am now. That'd fit like one of those retro bars and whatever.
Yeah, something off the strip.
Oh god. Bry has given us the Bry one, rent one, lose one. And it's a doozy. Because it's everything we've covered so far. So that is The Player, Moving Violations, the 72 version of Sleuth, Late Shift, Talented Mr. Ripley, V for Vendetta, Airheads, Batman Mask of the Phantasm, Something Wild, Who Killed Captain Alex, Cloud Atlas, Penn and Teller Get Killed, Summer School, Kronos, Brain Scan, Man Who Haunted Himself, They Live, Leave Her to Heaven, and That Thing You Do.
I know mine. And I know I almost feel like there should be a disclaimer here that we can't choose our own picks for the positive ones, but it's gonna happen. Something Wild's at the top for me, probably followed by The Player, and unfortunately, I am ditching Moving Violations.
Fair. Chris?
By the way, all your other picks have been very solid, though, especially Brain Scan. So
I will buy, and it's not because it's my movie, but it's just because what I collect. I have to buy Mask of the Phantasm. I have no choice. Renting, I will rent. Oh man, that's a tough one. I'm sorry, Owen. I also am gonna have to ditch Moving Violations. It's nothing personal.
I know.
And then Rent. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. I'll be the one to do it. I'll rent Who Killed Captain Alex.
Yeah. Somebody put it on there.
I'll rent it just for the novelty.
Commandos.
Yeah, I should have. It's like if basically the things that I picked weren't involved, Who Killed Captain Alex probably would have been at the top for me.
I'm just gonna have to pick my movies.
Which ones now is the question.
But the thing about it is, it's lose one, so anything that's not picked is just kind of stays on the shelf, right?
Yeah.
I'd say so.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at them. There's so many movies I know like the back of my hand on this list. I just gotta figure out what to buy.
So my question is, Ashley, once you ditch moving violations, do you know what the other two are?
Yeah, I buy Summer School because it was the authentic moving violations.
Okay. And I'm going to be honest with you. It probably wouldn't have been as easy to ditch moving violations if the shirts didn't fuck. That's where I draw the line.
I'd probably buy I'd buy Summer School and rent Who Killed Captain Alex.
That's just a great night.
I mean, technically, I don't even have to buy or rent it because it's free on YouTube by the providers. So does that give me an out? Does that mean I can
I
say?
didn't even think about that.
Does that mean I can say player for rent? Actually, no. Kronos would I'd rent. That was really nice to see again.
I guess. You're not wrong. It's the weakest of my picks. Sorry, James Cannon. Given the fact of how much correlation it's had in my life forever, because I know that book like the back of my hand, I'm gonna stick with The Late Shift as what I would buy.
Nice.
And Rent. I love Airheads so much. And hearing Brendan Fraser, anyone that sees The Whale may not pick this up, but I certainly did. There are times in delivery in The Whale where Brendan Fraser turns into Chaz Darby. And I'll never forget Airheads. I love that movie so much. Yeah, it's got to be the one that I would rent in this circumstance.
And don't forget that it had a new relevancy recently because of the Variety Actors on Actors series that they do every award season, where they take two people that are in contention and they interview each other. And they paired Fraser for The Whale and Sandler for Hustle, and over half the video is just them talking about Airheads and reminiscing about it.
Such a great movie that not enough people have seen.
It's also funny because like
came out now.
the week after you picked Airheads, I was watching an Ethan Page video, and Airheads was playing on the store that he was hunting in.
Yep, I know exactly what video you're talking about too.
Well, I gotta say something real quick while it's come up. If you are going to watch the Variety Actors on Actors series, Austin Butler was paired with Janelle Monáe. And in that video, they're pretty open with Glass Onion spoilers, so be careful.
Oh, great.
If you're going to do that.
Not give away anything. I feel very comfortable with the fact that both of those names left my mouth in August. Who's laughing now?
I do like the fact, though, Glass Onion related, that Ben Shapiro was complaining that the first half of the movie's a bait and switch because they do a twist, and it's like,
careful, don't.
Have you not read any mystery novels? Annoyingly, Shapiro also, try and be careful of the Twitter stuff, because if you see any of the tweets, spoilers for the film might show up in his tweets as well. But I do like the fact that he seems confused about the concept of whodunits and having sort of, shock twists being a thing. When, I don't know, Arthur Conan Doyle, when did you die? 150? Yeah, right.
I'll say right now, seeing Dave Bautista in a swim trunk shooting a gun up in the air still makes me laugh hysterically to this day. I'll never forget the reaction of that packed theater when I saw that scene for the first time.
I'm also liking
I'm
the
so
fact
happy that I've got that.
I'm liking the
'Cause
fact
it'll
that
never
Owen
happen
couldn't
again.
put Who Killed Captain Alex in his list, because that's the only one he didn't see.
I didn't see most of the movies.
Oh.
Forget, I selectively joined Movie Club.
Yeah. You need to watch that. Then again, you need to watch it with more than like yourself, because
Who the hell's gonna watch a movie with me?
Hang on.
If there's nobody there that will watch Who Killed Captain Alex, you're in the wrong place with the wrong people.
Yeah. It's very
I don't have
much.
anybody here right now. Well,
It's a Neil Breen film. It's The Room. It is so much better with people watching.
The big difference, though, is that Who Killed Captain Alex is not boring. That's its big difference.
I think The Room is
I remember when we did the movie club for Captain Alex, you guys got to watch me react to like the last 10 to 15 minutes of it because I didn't get it finished.
Yeah, you were just like, well, I'm looking at this really green screened helicopter.
There's so much in
If
that.
only I knew at the time what the chopper was bringing.
For once, it wasn't Commandos.
Man, now that I'm thinking about it, it's so short. We should have done Who Killed Captain Alex as like a live reaction video. Like just the four of us watch it together on camera.
Hell, I know. Hang on, we'll get to that. Bry says, by the way, Owen, I did finally watch Moving Violations. Bry, put your opinions of it now in the chat as we're sort of winding down. Bry also says, Ashley, didn't you want to do a podcast of us watching Owen watching Who Killed Captain Alex? Yeah. You never know.
I worry about live reaction shows because I watch what I say on here. So many times, as everyone in this panel knows, I've had to stop myself for saying what I really want to say.
If you let a few what the fucks out, nobody's going to blame you. Nobody's going to hold it against you.
I think in the time I've been on the network, that word may have escaped my once.
Because here's the thing. Like that 2009 area where we watched everything that came out, and like almost every movie we watched created a new in joke.
Oh yeah.
If we had seen Who Killed Captain Alex back then, that movie would be part of our vocabulary.
Interesting.
Send me the head, like Predator.
Just like how every broken chair in the universe is associated with shorts.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%.
Or digital Versicolor from Bronson. It just everything.
Yes.
It'd be completely in that territory. Just like the whole thing, though.
Want to know what we're talking about? That's what the QA show's for on May 1st.
Yeah. Put a pin in that, everybody, and remember it. And bring it up. I've also just checked April the 1st is a Saturday, so that sort of rules out doing a watch along then.
It's my mom's birthday, too, actually.
Exactly. Bryce says, about Moving Violations, Summer School is the better film. Yep.
Overall, yes, but I grew up on Moving Violations there, Brian.
Yeah.
I really liked that movie growing up. It's not the greatest movie, don't get me wrong. But just like AJ said, it just takes somebody to have those jokes and then you show this movie to someone, and now they understand the jokes, and now you can have the jokes for yourself, and no one else understands. Like as always said, comedy for one, comedy for two, comedy for several is still comedy. Doesn't have to be everybody understanding what you're saying, just as long as one person does.
Just having a quick look. Josephine has her list. Buy Leave Her to Heaven, rent Summer School, and lose moving violations. And Bry has Buy V for Vendetta. Oh wow. I'm pleasant. One of mine made it into somebody's list. Holy shit.
Can I just say how much I appreciate the love for Summer School that everybody's giving out?
Rent Summer School for Bry. And interestingly, Bry loses airheads.
Oh.
I thought
I remember his reaction during that video.
The only person the only person that hasn't ditched moving violations.
Yeah, it's like you were just saying, brother. I do remember now, like through the whole Airheads video, Brian's comments were just essentially "fuck this movie" over and over. just in different words.
I just get consistently more angry at this response.
I want to find the person that gets this list and says they want to buy moving violations. I want to find them.
Somebody who would say it sincerely.
Josephine says, come up with a Vegas movie starring Tom Everett Scott, Kerry Washington, and James Cromwell. I mean, feels like James Cromwell would be Howard Hughes in his like like Diamonds Are Forever style, like the actual manager of like one of the hotels and casinos and whatever. Trying to think. Kerry Washington probably be good as like a session.
Got one.
Kerry might be good as like a session singer or something at one of the clubs. I don't know what Tom's role would be. Go ahead with your idea, Chris.
James Cromwell's a preacher in one of those drive-through chapels, and Kerry Washington's the wedding planner there, and Tom Everett Scott's there to marry his girlfriend, but he's not sure if he wants to marry her, ends up falling in love with Kerry Washington.
Wow, rom-com is not where I expected that was going. I'm assuming this will be a comedy and not like a romantic drama.
Yeah.
Or a mix.
And do we have Austin Butler as the Vegas Elvis?
Sure.
Or Kurt Russell? Kurt Russell as the Vegas.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm bringing in Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
I watched Christmas Chronicles. I'll bring in Kurt Russell.
I watched 3,000 Miles to Graceland. I regret my life.
I think we're also back to Forrest Gump.
Yeah. The other thing we haven't mentioned now is it happened at the World's Fair where he kicked Elvis in the shin. I think. Oh yeah, he literally played him in that Carpenter miniseries.
No, I got it. Let's bring in Austin Butler to be the Vegas Elvis, and then Kurt Russell can come in and kick him in the shin as like a fun callback. And that's Kurt Russell's only scene.
No, yes.
But when he does it, I want him to come in looking like John Ruth.
I was just going to say, you just mentioned, I love the fact that 2 different actors have played Elvis, and both of those actors have literally had their heads stomped in Tarantino movies. It's perfect. I would have never made that connection until just now, but I love that it exists.
And of all places, it was made on a movie club about that thing you do.
Yeah. How did we get here?
You see what you did, Tom? Your fault. It's your fault. So that's your lot for the movie club for 2022. We'll be returning in or around the week beginning January the 9th for, holy shit, he actually has a physical edition at hand. Mainly because it's a film that he also cares about. If I can dig it out. Scott Pilgrim, This Is the World. And then
I actually don't have a copy of it, so I'm gonna have to figure that out.
Oh, I mean,
I'm
Amazon
trying to
over
remember
here.
if it's
Amazon
streaming.
over
It was
here
on
has them.
Netflix for the longest time.
Amazon over here has them for like £2.50. So like they produce so many. There's just so many knocking about. And then week starting the 23rd around then will be Once Upon a Time the Revolution, Fistful of Dynamite, Duck You Sucker, whatever we call it. That's going to be the longest title on these videos because I'm going to try and put all three.
I have a copy of Duck You Sucker. I don't have a copy of Scott Pilgrim.
I don't know whether to think that's a travesty or an utter travesty.
Oh man, Scott Pilgrim was picked up by Stars. That's why it's not on Netflix now.
Oh
No.
god. Is it because Ubisoft developed the game, which means it will never get cheap, or at least the
What was that Owen about DVDs being dead technology? And I cackled.
I don't buy movies, so it's not something. For me, it is.
So yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out with us over these 19 movie clubs over the past 7-8 months ish. I lose track of what date the first
Yeah, I think it was right after the last award season we started.
Yeah, so it would have been April, so it's probably about 8 months. Yeah, more will be coming. In terms of the schedule for this week, tomorrow will be the Q&A thing, again at 6 p.m. Yeah, we'll talk about the usual stuff. Again, sort of limit your award stuff to the award show that we're doing later on in the week. I'll get to that in a minute. But still have your sort of like, if you've got your comparison of winners and whatever from previous years for various categories, you know, stick that in there because it's easier to chat through on that. And then Thursday, the 30th. No, for 29th. My calendar's all over the place because I forgot. It's Tuesday where I am now. I should know that. I've seen Street Fighter the movie. It was Tuesday. So yeah, Thursday the 29th. I believe as well.
Yeah, we were having a conversation. I think we forgot to bring it up. We weren't sure what order it was going to be, and we were going to say, brother, we were going to let you decide if there was a Q&A this week, if it would be convenient for you, and if it would be Tuesday or Thursday. And then just the awards video on whatever the other day was.
Tuesday, but I'd have to hop off at 8.
You mentioned that last time we were talking about this because we made this plan on the last show, and I totally forgot about it until I opened the schedule and realized that today was supposed to be the QA show.
Just when Ashley brought up that thing you do, because I thought today was the Q&A.
Yep.
But I just rolled with it.
I just put the thing there.
And since we already had Josie comments in chat, I didn't want to start over. So it's
the way we have it.
For that matter.
So it's the way we have it, where we have a Q&A tomorrow and then awards Thursday.
Yup, because no, we don't do things on this network on Wednesday.
Just trying to keep an eye. Sorry for the drop frames over the last couple of minutes, guys. I don't know.
Oh, and I want to mention that this isn't the big one. AJ had said to me that he'd be a little bit more comfortable. And honestly, I feel like we all would be a lot more comfortable if we waited until after SAG before we did our real Oscar predictions. Because SAG is kind of the
I'm not.
could possibly happen.
Yeah, I refuse to do finalized Oscar predictions pre-SAG.
Yep. So you're not going to have as much time between the actual nominations and our predictions, but you're still going to have a little bit.
Yeah. Thinking of the schedule off the top of my head, I think the Globes and the Critics' Choice that week. I think.
Yeah, and don't forget all bets are off because we're going to start doing recap shows and predicting award shows because we've got the contest. Gotta love the contest.
I just remembered the night of the next movie club, I have to work late.
Uh-oh.
So would we be able to move that to Thursday that week?
No, not Thursday. We'd have to change. We'd have to flip other
Wait
things.
a minute. Movie club's on Monday, isn't it?
Specific.
Yeah.
Movie club's on Monday, right?
It can.
Normally,
it'll be on Monday.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the fact that I'm all confused. I don't work late next movie club.
Okay.
It's that Tuesday that week that I work late.
Sure.
It's damn Christmas.
The holiday
getting in
schedule
the
threw
way.
me off.
It's the Christmas getting in the way.
I don't know what's going to be the case because we're going to be doing Popcast for all the award shows, wrap-up shows,
Oh.
prediction shows, our Oscar nomination reaction videos, which I'm looking forward to those like I did last year.
Yeah, that's going to be a narrow window because I just noticed the Globes are the 10th, the SAG nominations
I
the
know.
11th, Critics are the 15th, BAFTA's the 19th, and Oscars is the 24th.
Yep.
So you'll be getting plenty of us that month.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern. That'll be your Oscar predictions for the Big Eight. But Briar's threatened us. Get ready for more awards trivia tomorrow. I've got an idea. And also for the December predictions, we can discuss the shortlist. Yeah, we'll definitely touch on that as well. Mainly because having seen one of the animated short films that I am like desperate to win, which I'm surprised about because normally with those sorts of things it takes a year when they show up on British television to show up at the Oscars. So the fact that it's the same year, it's like what? But we'll touch on that on Thursday. So yeah, in terms of other content here on the channel, I have 2 snack stashes in reserve that probably need to go up before the end of the year, considering their Christmas themed stuff from McDonald's.
Nothing's going up before the end of the year at this rate. We're trying to get everything in to start at 2023 as quick as we can. And I apologize in advance to anyone following my Twitter feed because you're going to get bombarded with stuff periodically as the weeks roll on.
They're there.
We will get caught up.
They're there if you want
worry.
to put them up anyway, Owen. They're uploaded and unlisted and
Sure.
everything. AJ's got movie reviews. I'm trying to think if there's any. Is there anything major coming up?
It's going to be the Avatar video.
Oh,
I
right,
haven't
that's
done
still to
it.
come. And then AJ is also halfway through the English, so that will be coming. A mini series on the mini series will be coming.
The two mini series that we're covering right now will also the Santa Clauses.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I also have to go on record and say I agree with AJ's analysis. That intro is nightmare fuel incarnate.
Oh, by the way, I came across the Santa Claus's terrifying intro again. You were saying the whole time that it's him eating candy. That's a marshmallow he's eating.
I'm too terrified to even realize the difference.
I know. I just noticed this last time.
I'm surprised you were able to keep eye contact with it long enough to determine what it was.
Oh yeah, it's I got a call afterwards that just said 7 days. So it's
Oh man, you're doing good. Mine said 4.
word has it some people are getting calls and just dying immediately.
The phone just rang and they just collapsed. They didn't even pick it up because premonition.
That's not a phone; it's sleigh bells.
That's Goldberg, as you know.
Dashing through the snow, running for my life. I will write the rest of that song at some point. Maybe I'll be like Tom Hanks to go on an interview tour and write it out of boredom.
Owen is on.
Right. We end full circle. That's amazing.
Owen's on Twitter at Sir Owen Disney and Popcast Network for all the other latest stuff from here. I can be found at Ash is my name UK. Chris, you're over on the Instagrams and the flippy shit.
Yes, Instagram, Chris Hunt's Toys. I'll be putting the Christmas haul up there soon, probably tomorrow or Wednesday. Figures and Flippy Shit podcast you can still find on all your stations. And the camera is in the mail. So we are doing a change in format, and we are going video starting this weekend. And instead of doing an individual review of each show, we're just going to do This Week in Wrestling. We're going to talk about all the major storylines, where they think that we're going to go. And all of that. So those will be starting, except for this week, those will start on Saturday.
I remember
They'll
those
be
shows.
on video and in podcast format.
I remember those shows, Ashley. They went 8 hours long.
Wow, because we talked about shit that we liked. So we wanted to talk about it and share it with people.
Yeah.
At the minute, I'd just be
8
telling
hours
everybody to
long.
watch women's wrestling from Japan, and that's about it.
Yep.
Well, the good news is I'm only watching 2 promotions, so it shouldn't take that long.
Yeah. Well, it helps as well when one of the shows is a clip show. And then the other show has got like the biggest card of the year because Fox is desperate. AJ cannot be found on the social medias. And just like Keith Richards cannot be killed by conventional weapons. I did the outro straight. You know it's getting bad. Anyway. Thanks to Brian Josie for being...
Oh man, you missed an opportunity. You should have said Keith Richards or AJ, like Keith Richards can't watch the opening to the Santa Clauses.
I'm sure Keith Richards would be watching it with popcorn.
He's probably like repeating it. He's just rewinding and rewatching it.
Just like Keith Richards also got a call from Sadako saying 7 days. He had that 7 years ago and keeps getting it every 7 days, and he goes, fuck it. Thanks to Josie and Brian chat. Thanks for you watching on the archive as well if you weren't able to catch us live. With that, thanks everybody for watching and listening, and until tomorrow, boys and girls, is somebody gonna love everything everywhere all at once?
Please kill that movie dead. Please, I beg of you. Get rid of it. Get it out of the running.
Stream Water Park, Stream Funeral Grey. Chicken on the field.
Intellectual property next year, baby!